Good morning. I'm glad to see all of you. If you are not already, lay down on your belly, stack your hands, and just come into a nice steady breathing pattern. I hope you have a block nearby, because when we come down onto our bellies and we stack our hands and we place our head, I'd like you to think about taking the breath all the way down the length of your spine. And sometimes it helps to place a block right at the base of the spine, right? So it's resting on the sacrum, that bone at the base of the spine. And then when you stack your hands and you start to just come into that steady breath, you have that sensation of where you want the breath to move, all the way down the length of the spine. You feel the rise and fall of the breath, particularly in your back body when we do it this way. We're going to stay here long enough for you to really enjoy that sensation of the breath rising and falling all the way down the length of the spine. As you rest here on your belly, connect to your breath. I just want to connect with all of you to let you know a little bit about what's going on at Namaste Yoga Studio. We are opening our facility again on June 5th, mindfully. As you all know, we could have opened on the 26th of May, which would have been last Tuesday. But we really want to take our time and make sure that we do it in a way that's good for students, good for teachers, good for the community. And I thank you for sending your responses back and continue to send them back so that we really have feedback from you on what you need in your practice. My slow flow classes will be taught where I'll wear a mask, and students will be required to wear a mask. If that impacts you in one way or the other, let us know. The studio will require masks when you come in, but we're asking that you be really patient with us. Not all classes will require masks while you're on your mat. When you're in the open spaces of the studio, we will require masks. As I said, patience. We are all navigating new territory, and we want to be respectful and mindful and safe and follow guidelines. So, yes, you rest there on your belly. Maybe that's a lot to take in. The opening of the studio will, the first week, be 2 classes a day. One in the morning and one in the evening. So if you're used to practicing on Tuesday mornings with me or Wednesday evenings, I look forward to seeing you again. But look online. We're offering all sorts of videos and ways to sort of ease us all back into our space. And again, patience. Patience. Maybe you're feeling a little more connected to the breath as you rest here on your belly. I'd like to share Jack Kornfeld's meditation. It's always been really my top favorite meditation or mantra. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. May I be happy. One more time. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. May I be happy. And as we move through our practice this morning, I invite you just to consider that mantra. We practice yoga, really, that's all we're looking for, right? All right, inhale, come up onto your forearms, bringing your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Rock a little bit from side to side in Sphinx pose. And you want to think the elbow directly under the shoulder. Hands directly in front of the elbows. Push into the tops of the feet. Drag your hands back isometrically. Pull your shoulders down the length of the back towards the tailbone. And you probably still have your block resting on the tailbone. That's great. Take the breath all the way back. See if you can lift your belly off the floor and almost feel like the block, it's not going anywhere, but you really feel your belly lifting towards the block. Keep the core engaged. Keep your breath nice and steady. Just notice what you're feeling here. Then, keeping your elbows where they are, turn your hands out to the corners of your mat. Take another breath. Push down into your hands and lift your chest. Coming into yoga seal. All right, so a lot of you students, I kind of have poses that I've assigned to you. I've said that as we've gone through these classes. This one's Kathy Murray's pose. Every time I teach this pose, I think of Kathy. So you feel the belly is not really resting on the floor at this point. You feel the tops of your legs engage. You feel the tops of your feet engage. As you push your hands down to the floor, you pull your shoulders away from your hands. And then bring the elbows right back down underneath the shoulders. Make any little tweaks and adjustments. You're back in that Sphinx pose. Drag the hands back, pull the heart forward. Lift the belly off the mat. So you're pushing into the tops of the feet for that to happen. You're dragging your hands back. And we're just breathing and noticing here. Okay, now bring your forehead down to the floor and take your hands out wide. So your elbows again are right in over your wrist creases. Your forehead's on the floor. Your fingertips are tented. Inhale, lift your chest up, and then lift your head up. Look down the length of the nose so the neck stays long, and snuggle those shoulders onto the back. Feel the strength in the low back. So you're taking the breath all the way down to the block. Breathing here and noticing, pushing into the tops of the feet. Exhale, lower your forehead back down to the mat. Take your hands, bring them next to your hips. Turn your head to the side. Take a breath in. All the way down to the block. Exhale, let it go. Then turn your head to the opposite side. Do that full breath in. And exhale to let it go. Bring your forehead back to the mat. Take your hands out wide again. Elbows up towards the ceiling. So your hands are right underneath your shoulders. Tent the fingers. Inhale, lift up the chest, lift the head. So you're curling the spine open. Snuggle those shoulders onto the back. Push into the tops of your feet. Exhale, come all the way down. Relax your hands next to your hips. Turn your head to one direction. Take a breath in and a breath out. Turn your head the opposite way. Same thing. I like to relax my hands down next to my hips in a way to release the tension in the shoulders. But you take your arms to where they feel good. All right, inhale, come back up. Take another breath, take your hands out wide, tent the fingers, you know where we're going. Push into the tops of the feet. Inhale, lift the chest, drag the heart forward, isometrically hug your hands back. Release your forehead to the floor, turn your head to the side. One breath in, another breath out. Turn your head the opposite way. All right, reach for that block behind you. Take it off your hips and come up and make your way into child's pose. Oh, this is a good, nice stretch to the low back. Release your forehead down to the floor. Take a breath here. And even though you don't have the block resting on your sacrum still, imagine that you were in the classroom and I walked around, which I'm not going to be able to do anymore, for a little while. And I walked around and I placed my hands so that the palms of my hand were heavy on your hips, and I just gently guided the hips down to the floor. That sensation of creating length in the low back. We find that in our child's pose. All right, slide forward, come back onto your bellies. Take your hands out wide. All right, inhale. This time I'd like you to lift your left leg and cross your left leg over your right. Stretch to the left side of the body. As you push into the left elbow, you can even, left hand. You can even push your left hand out straight and maybe get a little more leverage in the twist, turning your head to face the left hand. And then inhale and come back to center. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Straighten your right arm out to the side if that feels good. Then lift your right leg, cross the right leg over the left. Inhale, come back to center. Do it again. Left arm comes out wide, lift the left leg, cross the left leg over the right. Push that left hand away from your left hip. Inhale, come back, switch sides. Right arm comes straight, right leg twist. Come back. Good. Now, back into child's pose. Knees come wide, big toes come together. We'll open up the shoulders a little bit with this variation of child's pose by bringing the elbows close to the ears, bringing the palms into prayer position behind the back of the head. Now you still want that sensation of pushing the hips back towards the back wall. Again, imagine a palm resting right between your shoulder blades, gently, gently opening up that space of the shoulder blades onto the back. It should just feel good, right? If the floor is too far away for your head to rest comfortably, you bring the floor to your head by putting a block under your head. All right, let's come forward again onto our bellies. Judy, are you so excited about this start to class this morning? Oh, it feels good, right? Stack your hands, bring your head to rest on your hands. Take your left leg out to the side so it's a little bit of a hip opener. Now, depending on how your hips are feeling this morning, we don't want to overdo anything. So the left knee can come out to the side, maybe not parallel to your hip, or you can take your left knee and bring it all the way up next to your hip. But it's just the amount of space that you need to open things up. And we'll bring that left knee back and we'll take the right knee out to the side. Do the same thing. Just take it to a place. Now, again, you may feel like the right hip felt one way about this, the left hip feels something totally different. That's just the truth of what's going on in your body. Just observe that. Be kind about it. All right, inhale and come back to center. Hands next to the chest. Once more, child's pose. The hips are heavy. Take your arms wherever it feels good. If you like that idea, bringing the elbows in and the hands in prayer position, snuggling the shoulders as if somebody was pushing on your sacrum and in between the shoulder blades. Another option is to take your hands down next to your heels and just sort of rounding into the back body. Finding the space that you're finding this morning. Use your hands, inhale, lift up, make your way onto your backs. And hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. Release your left foot to the floor. Hug your right knee in towards your chest. And then take it out towards your right armpit. Release the right foot to the floor. Hug the left knee in. Seesaw, good morning. Lenore, Vicky. It's great to have some Namaste teachers in class this morning. Missed you guys. All right, now let's come into happy baby pose. So it's early still. Don't feel like you have to wrap your hands around the outside of your feet. You could just take your hands to the outside of your thighs. I'll just sort of rock a little bit from side to side. And then bring your knees into your chest. Now, rock from side to side. And then go ahead and rock up into a seated pose. I'm always happy. Whoever decides to come to class, it's good to see you. All right, now we're going to sit up on a blanket. Yep. So when we sit up on a blanket, we want the knees to drop below the hip bones. So maybe a blanket isn't enough for you. Perhaps you'd rather use your block. I'd like you to use whatever it is that you feel is going to be filled with loving kindness. All right. Good. Float on the breath. Reach the arms up and overhead. And then take the arms out to how wonderful. So we did a variation of this while we were lying on our belly. Hug the belly and lift and lengthen from the tailbone through the top of the head. And breathe and notice the space. Good. Now bring your elbows in towards one another. Good. And then open the arms out wide. Push as if you were pushing against something, like there was some resistance, right? So again, we have to sort of make our own space here. We'll bring the elbows in. Fly the elbows open. Lift the heart, lift the heart, lift the heart. Good. Bring the hands back to center. Elbows back to center. Open up. Good. 2 more rounds at your pace. Breathe and find that space. Now send the arms up and overhead. Good. Now soften your shoulders. Decide which hand's your right hand. Drop it to the floor. Spider walk your right fingertips out to the side. As you tent the fingers, push down into the right fingers, lift your head, push back into that left hip and find the space along the left side of your body. Reach and breathe. Inhale, come back to center, go the opposite way. What are you feeling and noticing at this moment? Anchor into your right hip, reach through your right fingertips, extending through the top of the head. And we'll come back and switch sides, do the opposite way. Switch sides. We'll do that one more time on each side. Take the time to really explore and notice what you're feeling. Inhale, come back. Good. Come back to center. Take a breath. Take your arms back into that how wonderful or goddess arms. Good. And then take your awareness to your belly button. And from your belly button, twist to your left. So it's a spinal twist, keeping the heart open. And then inhale, come back to center. Twist to your right. You feel the twist coming up the length of the spine. You've started at the belly button and then you make your way all the way up. The head follows the movement of the spine. So it's not about turning your head. It's about twisting through the torso. Good. And then come back to center. Release your hands to the floor. Reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Turn the right palm. Reach your left hand for the right wrist. Lean to the left. Inhale, come back. Lean to the right. Inhale, come back. Try not to twist at this point. Try and keep the spine perpendicular and lined up. Good. Now we'll come back to center. We'll switch sides. We'll lean over to the left. Okay, now you can add a little bit of a twist by bringing the right armpit forward and the left armpit back. Inhale, come back up. Let's do the same thing. Switch sides, so you're going to lean over to the right. You'll bring the left armpit, so you're twisting from the belly, bringing the left armpit forward, the right armpit back. Good, and then inhale and come back to center. Release your hands back to the floor. Okay, hands and knees. Take your blanket, scooch it out of your way. Coming into tabletop pose. Bringing your wrist creases right underneath your shoulders. Now, again, I'd like you to think of that sensation of where the block was a moment ago on the sacrum. You could put the block there if you wanted to, but you don't need to, because I would like for you to push the block off. So start by reaching from the lowest part of the spine up towards the ceiling. Reaching through the belly button. Slowly, kind of one vertebra at a time, rounding into the shoulders, right? And then you feel your head drop and you feel yourself lift up into a cat stretch. Okay, now think about my hand right in between your shoulder blades. Start to drop the chest down towards the floor. Slowly, we're going really slow flow this morning. Don't be afraid to embrace the slow flow. All right, lift up into your hips and your shoulders. Okay, push the sacrum, push the block up towards, so you're going to lose the block, right? So we start low, low, low. Inhale, come back up, lift up into your cow stretch. One more cat. Another cow. And back to neutral. Step your right foot forward to your right hand. Drag your left knee back or scoot your left knee back. If you need to use blocks underneath your hands, we want the shoulders to be higher than the hips. Back toes I like curled under. If you feel better about the top of the foot flat on the floor, do what feels good to you. All right, with that right knee, weight bearing over the ankle, take your hands to your hips, push down into your hips and lift your heart. Bring your head to rest at the top of the spine. Float your arms up and overhead. Soften your shoulders. Breathe into the space of your low lunge. Take your arms out to how wonderful. We did that while we were seated, right? So the elbows come parallel to the shoulders, the palms face forward. And then from your belly, twist and bring first the ribs and then the left shoulder, twisting to your right. Inhale, come back to center. Reach your left arm up to the ceiling. Turn the left palm up to the ceiling and then reach your right hand for your left wrist. Lean over the right hip. Extending from the left hip bone, extending from the left knee. Feel the stretch along the left side of the body. And then release your hands to the inside of that right foot. Heel toe your right foot out to the side. Take a breath here. Some of you may want to lower down onto your forearms or maybe to your blocks. There's 3 options here. Actually, there's a 4th too. I'll tell you that when we get to the other side. All right, palms to the earth. Take that right knee back. Bring the left foot forward. Slide the right knee behind you. Inhale, rise up. Reach the arms up and overhead. Settle into your low lunge. Hugging the belly towards the spine. Lifting the heart up, keeping the gaze looking down the length of the nose. Take your arms out to how wonderful. Snuggling the shoulders onto the back. Now twisting from the belly button, bring the right shoulder forward. Find that space. Good. Hugging the legs together will help you find some balance. Then inhale, come back to center. Reach the arms up. Turn the right palm up. Reach the left hand for the right wrist. Lean over the left leg. All right, bring your hands back to the mat. Come into that hip opener by walking the left foot out to the side. So this is the first option, to keep your hands on the floor. The second option is to grab a block and put your forearms on blocks. Third option is to come all the way down onto your forearms. That 4th option was to not do it at all. Right? Sometimes being filled with loving kindness means not doing anything, right? So just take this to a place where it feels like you're still breathing. Your breath will remind you you're taking good care of yourself. All right, hands back to the mat. Heel toe the left foot back and meet the left knee to the right. Take a breath. Step both feet forward to your hands. Push into your feet. Inhale, rise all the way up. Good. Exhale, take your hands to heart center. Look down at your feet. They should be about hip distance. Float the arms up and overhead. Soften your shoulders away. Exhale, take your hands through the center of your heart. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Back to heart center. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And then back to heart center. Good. Now reverse it. Take the arms up and out and around. 3 rounds of breath, your pace. Beautiful. Hands back to heart center. Take your arms out into how wonderful. Push down into your feet. Feel your tailbone reach down towards the floor. Feel your heart lift. Again, If somebody were to place a hand on your sacrum, you'd feel the sacrum drop to the floor. If somebody brought their hand in between your shoulder blades, it's almost like you'd give them a hug with your shoulder blades. All right, so that's how open the front of the body gets when we do that. Head rests at the top of the spine. Okay, think about where your hips are right now. Don't let your hips move at all. Push down into the floor. Hug like you're shredding the mat with your feet. Your feet are super strong. Your legs are seriously engaged. From your belly, twist. Hips stay still, like somebody was pushing down into your hip bones. Inhale, come back. Go the opposite way. So the twist, you may feel like, oh, keep your hips still, keep your hips still. Why am I saying that? Because everybody wants to twist so deeply they move their hips. Come back to center. How did I know you were doing that? I don't know. I had this vision. Keep the hips still. Twist to your right. Inhale, come back. Twist the opposite way. Good. Come back to center. One more time. Twist to your right. Nothing moves from the legs, from the hips down. Okay? There you go. Good. Come back to center. Reach your arms up and overhead. Soften your shoulders. I love a live studio audience. Turn your right palm up. Reach your left hand to your right wrist. Lean over to your left. This morning, I particularly love my live studio audience. Inhale, come back to center. Switch sides. Inhale, come back to center. Switch sides. Think about how long you're going as you even things out, how tall you're growing. Good. Push down into your feet. Take your arms back out to how wonderful. Good. Take a breath here. Hug your belly. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel that sense of balance. Right, take your hands to heart center. We'll come into tree pose or Vrksasana. If you feel like you'd be more comfortable doing tree pose next to a wall, stand next to a wall. If you're good with it in the middle of the room, we'll do a couple variations of it. Do what feels good to you, right? That's always the fourth option, I guess you could say. All right, push into your left foot. Bring your right heel to rest on your left ankle. And then float your arms out to how wonderful. Good. Breathe and notice your spacing. You push down into your feet. Hug your legs in towards each other. Feel the core engaged as the head lengthens up to the ceiling. Fingertips are actively reaching up towards the ceiling. Good. And then take your hands to heart center. Release the right heel. Bring the left heel to rest on the right ankle. Line yourself up. Yep. Start everything from the foundation. So start from your feet here. The foundation is always what's touching the floor. And then take your arms out wide. Good. Don't forget to breathe. Take your hands back to heart center. Bring your left foot down to the earth. Bring your right knee up in front of your right hip. Flex your toes back towards your knees. Reach your arms up and overhead. Good. Now soften your shoulders away from your ears. Let's feel your breath. Exhale, release your hands to heart center. Exhale and release the foot. Actually, breathe. I told you to exhale twice. I don't know how you could have done that. Push into your right foot. Bring your left knee up. Good. And then you go to the place where, you can find balance. So one side may cooperate and the other side may argue. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. May you be happy. Exhale, release your hands to the heart center. Release your left foot. Float the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Take your hands to your thighs. Come into half forward fold. Extending, pushing down into your feet. Rise up, reach your arms up and overhead. Come into that half forward fold again. Opening up the body, pushing down, rising up. One more time, half forward fold. Push down into your feet. Inhale, rise up. Reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale the hands to heart center. All right, push into your left foot. Bring your right knee up. Wrap your hands around the right knee. Lift the knee up and then take the knee out towards the armpit. We did this lying down too. Good, lifting the heart, lifting the head. Remembering to breathe. Good, now release the right foot. Push into the right foot, bring the left knee up. Wrap your hands around the left knee. Hug the shoulders onto the back, and then lift that left knee out towards the left armpit, up and out. Don't be afraid to use the wall. Good. Let your breath be steady here. Beautiful. Release the left foot to the floor. Take your arms up and overhead. Exhale, find the version of forward fold that works for you this morning. So it could be half forward fold. It could be taking your hands to blocks. It could be taking your hands to the floor. Another option would be to take your hands over to the wall if you wanted to do wall dog. All right, push into your feet. Reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale, take your hands to heart center. Square your feet on the floor. So we'll go into tree again. This time I'm offering you another option. If you'd like to take your foot and place it so that the arch rests on the calf, right below the knee, toes point down, heel points up, heart lifts towards the thumbs. Good, and then reach your arms up and overhead and soften the shoulders. Breathe here. And if you're feeling steady, take your arms out to how wonderful. Again, think of one hand on your tailbone, one hand between the shoulder blades. You're lifting as you push down into the foundation. That left foot is rooting you down, the heart is lifted. Okay, good times here. From your belly, begin to turn to your right. Keep your drishti as steady, your gaze is steady. The hips stay still, the twist starts from the belly button. Inhale. Come back to center. You can always tap the foot to the floor and then come back. All right, now reach your arms up and overhead. Turn your left palm up. Reach your right hand for your left wrist. Lean over the bent leg. And if you're struggling on this side, don't worry. The other side could be completely different. If you're bragging to yourself about how awesome you are at balance, that's cool. Let's see what happens when we go to the other side. Oh, hands to heart center. Release the right foot. Wiggle it out. We didn't hold that that long, did we? All right. Push into your right foot. Hands to heart center. Line up first. Toes point forward. Place your left foot right in the arch or back down so that the toes are on the floor. All right. Inhale. Take the arms up and overhead. Soften the shoulders. Tailbone reaches down, heart lifts up. Come into your how wonderful. Okay, this is your bus stop maybe. I'm gonna get off here. It's totally fine to do that. All right, now some of you may want to really heavy down into your hips, right? Your foot's rooted down, you're stable from the hips down, and slowly begin to twist from the belly, hips stay still. Twist to your left, to your left. To your left, to your left. From the belly. Oh, hug in, hug in, hug in. Inhale, come back to center. Good, reach your arms up and overhead. Turn your right palm up. Reach your left hand for your right wrist. Keep the shoulders heavy. Keep the hips square. Go ahead and lean over the bent leg. What are you noticing? What are you feeling? Inhale. Good job. Come back to center. Release the left foot. Exhale. Come into your forward fold. The version that feels awesome to you. Push down. Come all the way up. Reach your arms up and overhead. 2 more forward folds. Moving at your pace. Keep the legs active. Keep the core active so that we don't overstretch anything. There we go, good. Inhale, come all the way back to heart center. Okay, have your blocks. We'll do a nice little warrior sequence here. Step wide on your mat with the blocks behind your heels. Ah, nice little hip opener here, right? Push into the tops of the feet. Lift your heart. Good. Now click your heels in. One click. Yep, your toes are turned out. Your heels are clicked in. All right, hips stay square. Bring your knees over your hips. Oh, there we go. You had to know if we were doing goddess arms, we're probably going to make our way to goddess pose. Take your arms out wide. Hug the belly. Drop your tailbone. Again, one hand on the sacrum, one hand between the shoulder blades. That's that sensation. Hugging the legs together as you sink the hips down. Don't forget to breathe. From your belly, twist and bring your left shoulder forward, your right shoulder back. Try and keep the knees pointing right over the ankles. Don't let them drop to the center. Good, come back, twist to your left. Come back, 2 more times in each direction. Good, hands to the hips, straighten the legs, click your heels back out. I promised a warrior sequence, let's do it. Turn your right toes out to the side, bend your right knee, bring it all the way over the ankle. Float the arms out wide, look out over the right hand, shoulders heavy over the hips. Feel the weight of your head drop down towards your tailbone. Drop the left hand, reach the right hand up. Nothing from the waist down moves. Spider walk the left fingertips down the left leg. Stretch through the right side. Inhale, float your right forearm to your right knee. Turn that left shoulder so it comes right over the right. Float the left arm up and overhead. Push into the outside edge of your left foot and extend through your left fingertips. Breathe here. Feel from the belly the left shoulder coming over the right. Okay, you should have a block behind your right foot. Reach for it. Reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Straighten your right leg. The heart's still open. One hand on the sacrum, one hand between the shoulder blades, coming into your triangle pose. The right leg is straight, but it's not locked. The right fingertips are on the block, but they're not weighty. Your left fingertips are light. They're pulling everything up towards the ceiling. Good. Left hand to the left hip. Inhale, rise up. Turn the feet parallel to one another. Good, now turn your left toes out to the side. Bend your left knee so you come into your warrior 2. Arms float out wide. Look out over your left hand. Don't forget to breathe. Feel the weight of that left knee over the ankle. You should be able to see your big toe on the left side. Otherwise, you want to track that left knee behind. All right, float the left oops, nope. We did reverse first, didn't we? All right, arms out wide. Drop your right hand, reach your left arm up. This is another reason I need to be in the studio teaching. You guys always give me the guidance I need. Kind of like I come into class and people say, oh, could you do this? And I think that wasn't in my plan, but that's what I need to do today. I miss that, and I look forward to seeing you all again when we can do those kinds of things. Mixing class up in the middle of class. All right, float your left forearm to your left thigh, reach your right arm, coming into Parsvottanasana. Opening up that right shoulder over the left. Feeling your breath as you push into the outer edge of your right foot and extend long through the right fingertips. All right, release your left hand down to the block outside the left foot. Reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, straighten the right leg. Keep the right shoulder over the left. Left fingertips are touching something. The block, maybe you don't have a block, maybe you've got your hands on your calf. I don't want your hand to touch the floor unless you can keep your right shoulder over your left. So triangle pose is not about getting that hand to the floor. Feel the sacrum reaching long, feel the heart opening. All right, rise up. Good, turn your feet parallel to one another. Click those heels in, one click, come down into your goddess pose. Open your arms up wide. Fingertips point towards the ceiling, tailbone drops towards the floor. Keep breathing. Good, bend into the knees. Feel the knees tracking more towards the back edge of your mat, so you don't want to drop them forward. You want to pull them out wide. There we go. Sink down into the hips. Feel the weight of your head dropping your hips deeper. Beautiful. Hands to the hips, straighten your legs. Turn your heels out wide. Good. All right, hinge at the hips. Bring your chest forward. Place your hands either on blocks or fingertips to the floor. Extend the spine long. Take a breath here. So your hands are right underneath your shoulders and your hips are parallel to your heels. Now, release your palms down to the floor or to the blocks. Drop your head. Walk your hands out in front of you with the head resting in between your hands. Push back into your hands so you feel your hips push back towards the back of the room. Snuggle the shoulders onto the back. One hand on the sacrum, one hand in between the shoulder blades. Okay, walk the hands back so they come right underneath your shoulders. Extend from your tailbone through the top of the head. All right, now turn your fingertips behind you and then walk your hands underneath your legs and reach towards behind you. Use your fingertips to snuggle the shoulders onto the back. Use your core. Use the strength of your legs. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulder blades again. Heel, toe your feet back together again. Push into your feet. Inhale, lift, rise all the way up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Good, and then exhale, take your hands through to heart center. Come on down to your backs now. We'll do a little poor man's massage where you hug your knees into your chest and you just rock from side to side. If it feels good, bring your knees closer to your armpits. If it feels better for you to push your knees into your hands, do that. So we're just rocking from side to side. And we'll release the left foot to the floor. Hug that right knee in towards the armpit again. Straighten through the left leg and turn your toes up towards the ceiling. Turn your right toes up towards the ceiling. Do you feel how when you turn your right toes up towards the ceiling, you can feel the energy in the right calf? A little more engaged. Now release your arms out to the side. Release your right knee out to the side and come into a fallen tree. Bring your arms into that. How wonderful. Toes point up. Drop your tailbone to the floor. Feel your breath rising and falling, not just in the front body, but also in the back body, aware of where you are in space. Inhale and bring the right foot back to center. Bring the right knee up. Wrap your hands around your knees. Rock again from side to side. Release your right foot to the floor. Hug that left knee in. Melt the shoulders to the floor. Straighten through the right leg. Turn the toes up to the ceiling. Open the left knee out to the side. Bring the arms out to how wonderful. Toes point towards the ceiling with the right foot. Engage the strength of the left leg. Breathe into the space of your fallen tree. Inhale, come back to center. I think I might have done something, but I can't remember if I did anything else. See, I need you. Nope. Okay, we're coming into happy baby pose. Arms between the legs. Lift the heels up to the ceiling. Release your feet back down to the mat. Take your feet, walk them wide to the wide edges of the mat. Let your knees come in together. Take your arms either to a T or into that goddess arms, or how wonderful. Drop your knees to the left. Keep your right shoulder anchored on the floor. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, drop your knees to the right. The left shoulder's anchored. You feel that space along the left side of your body. Inhale, come back. Switch again. And then it becomes this nice rhythmic back and forth, swishing from side to side. Hopefully this morning you found lots of space through the side of the body. You found some opening in that space of the hips. Inhale, come back to center. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock again from side to side. Bring your feet back down to the floor. Relax your hands down to your sides. Take a breath. Tuck your shoulders underneath your chest. On the in-breath, as you push into your feet, your shoulders, the back of the head, lift your hips up, bridge pose. Melt the shoulders to the floor, lifting the hips, so we're coming into a nice back bend. We've done some nice balance and hip opening, so hopefully we have some space to really lift and come into a nice back bend. Exhale and surrender all the way down to the floor. Push your belly button to the floor so you feel all of your back push against the floor. And then go ahead and arch into the low back, push down, lift the hips up, bridge pose. Come straight down. Push into the low back, feel the low back, surrender to the floor. Inhale, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Bridge pose. Finding our way into this nice symmetrical pose as we cool down after the heat of our practice. Exhale, bring your hips back down to the floor. Push your low back to the floor. Hug your knees into your chest. Find that nice symmetrical rocking from side to side. Release your feet to the floor. If you have socks or sweats or anything you want to put on to warm yourself up, We're not quite ready for Shavasana, but we're getting there. We'll straighten through the legs. We'll reach the arms all the way behind us. And we'll get nice and long. Stretch through your left fingertips, stretch through your left toes, and feel the space and length along the left side. And then lose your patience, right? Oh, I'm going to reach so far. I've got to reach farther. I've got to reach farther. I've got to reach farther. And then relax. Take a breath here. Breathe into the symmetry. Do the same thing on the right side. Reach through the right side. Reach through the toes and the fingers. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Overdo. We like to overdo things. We don't need to. We just need to be patient. It will come to us, right? Exhale and release. Okay. Seemingly we're not doing a whole lot, but we're doing a lot if we add the stretch and the overdoing. We forget to be patient. We're reaching, 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 toes and fingers far away. And then we exhale and release, and we find our way into Shavasana. The palms rest on the floor. The back of the hands rest on the floor, nice and symmetrically. Spread your fingertips wide. Let your toes fall away from one another. Close your eyes. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. May I be happy. Take a deep breath in and then let it go. Just feel how you're held. Stability of the earth beneath you and all the possibilities above and around you. Begin to gently wiggle your fingers and your toes as you welcome awareness back to your body. Taking your time, bend into your knees and roll and rest on your right side. Use your arm or your blanket as a pillow as you rest on your side. And once more, I'll invite you to really feel the breath move all the way down the length of the spine. 3 full rounds of breath at a pace that feels just right for you. Taking your time, make your way up into a seated pose, keeping your eyes closed or just gently looking down. As we move into this next phase of Namaste Yoga Studio, again, we ask for your patience, we ask for your guidance, we ask you to stay connected to us. These last couple months have been really hard on a small business, and we need you. We need you for so many different reasons, and we are grateful to be part of this community. People who extend those wishes of, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well, and may you be happy. We'll bring our hands to heart center. With love and gratitude, namaste.